Welcome back. President Trump hailing America's hero military systems, taking out 3 of Iran's major nuclear sites, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, where an underground tunnel makes it an even harder target than Fordow.
Ryan Mauro is an investigative researcher of extremist groups and foreign threats at the Capitol Research Center. He joins us now. So, Ryan, talk to us a little bit about why. Obviously, we heard so much about Fordow, and we understand why it could only be done by an American bomb, American pilots. But we're also hearing Isfahan may have been the harder target to hit.
That's right. And so the other site, the Natanz site, that is the one that's also heard about a lot and has a lot of centrifuges, had an underground component as well as on the surface level. So that's why that had to be struck. And then Isfahan was interesting because there's, again, a site there that's been long talked about for uranium conversion, turning the uranium into gas. The gas then goes into the centrifuges, and then you use that to make the fuel for a bomb. But what was not talked about so much was this underground tunnel complex buried into the mountain that, according to some reports out there, could have been buried even more than the Fordow site, just a little bit more. And so that makes it a harder target because it's deeper. And then depending on how they structure the tunnels, that can also make it more difficult. And the recent reports that were coming out that I saw is apparently it's believed that enriched uranium was stored there. And so it's a question of whether it's been destroyed or whether it's buried under there. The bottom line is the Iranian regime doesn't have access to it anymore.
Ron, talking about that, I think a lot of Americans are trying to understand all this talk about Fordow. I think that the implication there was it was a more important site. But when you look at Isfahan, there are Chinese reactors there. It seems to be a very important site. If they only use Tomahawk missiles in Isfahan, does that make it a potential target for bunker busters later on if it's deeper, like you say?
Based on Trump's comments, I would assume it's obliterated and taken care of.
Okay.
So it could always be a target in the future. I'm particularly interested in the other site at Natanz, which is much deeper, according to some reports, than the Fordow site, to the point that it might be about 465 feet underground, somewhere between 75 and 145 meters. And that's another enrichment site, and that's designed to withstand even American bombs. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. There's also other uranium stocks, presumably, that are around the country. I doubt that they put it all in that one spot. And then you have the Boucher nuclear reactor that may also need to be taken care of, but can't be blown up because then radiation goes all over the place.
And just in the last 10 seconds we've got, Ryan, it seems we could expect Iran to retaliate much like they did after Soleimani.
Yes, they're going to feel obliged to go above what happened after Soleimani, but they don't want to go too far because then there's going to be hell to pay. And Khamenei, the supreme leader, as well as his son, could end up dead if they go too far. So you better believe that they're nervous right now, trying to figure out how do we go above what we did when Soleimani was killed, but not go too far.
Ryan Mauro, thank you for getting up early and give us the insight.
Sure thing.